So this event guide was supposed to be out yesterday, but then when I was going to upload the video, I noticed that there was no sound because the audio file mysteriously got deleted. So here we are. I didn't mean to miss like one of the actual upload days, but hey, sometimes that does happen. Sometimes your Vegas Pro just deletes your file for some reason. Now, one of the things that I'm also doing for this video, you'll notice it's an event guide, but we're not just going to go through the wiki page. I thought it might actually be a bit more beneficial, and I wanted to try this to talk about the event guide and stuff, and kind of, throw up the images as per usual. Be like, oh, here's what I'm talking about. Let me show what's going on. But then also just have gameplay running in the background. So if we're talking about, say, the Santa Martha, you can actually see her in the background, or I can show the new buff that Scotty's getting, and I might want to do this for future events. So just, watch the video and let me know if you like this new style, or if you'd like me to go back to doing the other one, because I understand that, like, this one's probably more entertaining, but I can also understand wanting to actually see me go through the things in real time. But I just feel like this is probably going to be more entertaining if I was watching a video personally. And I'm never, going to shy away from trying something new. We like experimenting around here on the channel. But let's start diving into this event, starting off with the first thing we're going to be getting, and that is going to be Emiya's summer costume from, what was it, Summer 6? So if you are an Emiya fan and, he's going up on Raid Up, which we'll talk about in just a second, you do have an opportunity to go ahead and grab his costume for 5 rare mana prisms. If that's something you want to do, go ahead and do that. I mean, personally, I would probably use those rare mana prisms to get the extra copies of BB or even Santa Altera, because she's going to be getting that event power mod, so she can be kind of good, I guess, for some big enemies or something if you want to use her for the challenge quest. And again, it's just getting a new unit on your account as well. So I don't know, I'd prefer to go for that. But if you've already bought and everything, then hey, you can get a nice, sick, dripped out outfit for your Emiya. But that's one of the minor things that we're going to be getting for the event. Second of all, we have the event bonus servants. And this is always very important. I highly urge people to always check this out, because this is going to help you see what units you want to bring to some of the free quest farming to give yourself a little bit more of an advantage, right? If you have lower NP units, this is always going to help you. Also, going into the CQ, you can also pick out some of these units and kind of use them to bring down the boss. And for this Lotto, we actually have a pretty decent option, when it comes to farmers and whatnot. You have Emiya, who is, again, going up on Raid Up. You can kind of use him as, say, like an AoE looper that then changes into Buster, drops a bunch of stars and maybe get some crits in there. If you have like a NP1 Emiya, it can be kind of nice for that. Percival is also going to be event damage bonus. He's just a solid enough arts looping servant. Will be a little bit better with that 50% power mod. Unfortunately, Bradamante probably still not going to be usable because she does not have her buff that she got on JP. But hey, there's always next time. Nidochris is actually going to be a very key one that you want to keep an eye on, because the 90+ node that you want to be farming for the Lotto that drops all the materials is actually an assassin node. And if you don't have like a high NP Nidochris, you could still try to get some insta-kill in there some places, so do keep track of that one. There's also Kentoki, who you can use to buster loop through one of the 90+ nodes as well. So these are very, very good guys to kind of keep your eye out on. But let's say you want to do some quick farming. Well, they at least threw you a bone and they gave you Edmond Dantes on buff over here, because they understand that someone wants to do some quick farming. They also threw Scotty on here, which I don't really know why that's relevant at all, but I would love someone to be like, no, ZTL, actually, you're wrong. Using Scotty to farm the final node for like 12 turns or something is the most optimal way to be doing things. Let me show you this DPS Scotty farm. So I don't know, if somebody wants to do that with that 50% power mod, then by all means, go have at it. But they probably want you to go ahead and use Dante's for your quick farming. So actually, like, a decent bit of servants that we have over here on the event bonus. Let's talk about some of the free-to-play stuff that we're actually going to get for this event. First of which, we have the command codes. Now, these command codes actually are going to be a little bit useful. I actually do like the ones that we're getting for this lottery event. We have the Benny Enma one that's going to give you just a slight 15% power mod against chaotic or evil alignment enemies. You can pretty much slap this on any one of your DPS servants, because you will find, a decent bit of chaotic and evil aligned enemies, and it'll just give that servant a nice little bit of oomph, when you're going up against those guys, and it's just nice. Like, it's just kind of solid. There's no one that you particularly want to put it on. I mean, you could put it on Benny Enma. She already has the power mods, and you could, further capitalize on that, I suppose. But you could also just throw this on anybody, right? You don't have to put it on Benny Enma. It's not like one of the curse command codes that you really want to put on, Van Gogh, or you want to put on Yang or something along those lines. Well, Yang is burned, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like one of those really specific ones that's like, you gotta put it on this guy. It's just a solid command code. The 4-star one, I believe this is Medea Lily's Wand. This is going to be kind of nice on some of your solo servants, I would imagine, but you could also just throw this on a guy that has a lot of these healing things, because it's going to recover the entire party's HP by 150 when they use the card. I say it's good on solo servants because let's say you have a Ku or like a Ku altar, a Herc, something along those lines. You could load up on a lot of these different command codes, just a bunch of the healing ones, and then over the course of the fight, you're just regenning a lot of extra HP, and sometimes it might buy you like an extra turn or two, something along those lines, and that can actually be kind of strong. But again, if you just want to throw this on one of your supports, even like throw it on your Merlin, throw it on your Castoria, that could also be nice to kind of give a little bit of healing. Again, if you want to load up on those on, say, your Castorias, a lot of these party heal ones, it could also be good for that. Then there's a little Benny Enma Birds for the 3-star command code. This one is decent enough. You could really put it on either a DPS or a support because it's just going to remove a defensive debuff off of yourself and then drop a star. So, you know, slap it on an arts card and be like, look, my arts cards, they're Genin stars. You could do something along those lines. It's just kind of a fine one. It's not the best thing on the planet, but it's fine enough. You at least get that extra little ability to kind of get around defensive debuffs. It's fine. We also get a pretty strong free-to-play CE for this event. Make sure you're maxing out on this because it's not only going to drop the Lotto currency, which you want to get, because don't you want to open like 200 boxes? But it's also just fine enough for farming as well. I actually use this as my primary arts looping CE because I didn't have anything better when I started on JP. And it just gives you like 20% NP gain. It gives you a 50% battery. That's really good to help out some of your worse off loopers. I haven't tested it with, say, quick looping servants, but I imagine with some of the better ones, they can afford to use this because, again, ideally, you do want to be using like Kaleidoscope with a lot of your quick loopers. They do need that extra starting NP. But some of them are getting away with using stuff like Black Grail, and I imagine you could get away with using this on some of your quick loopers. It also gives you like a healing received buff, which is nice, I guess, but one of the more notable things is it's also, you know, a CE you can max limit break, and it has 2k attack. So if you have a lot of those CE bombs stored up from the Gudu Gudu events, you can maybe use it on this if you don't have anything better. But then finally, there's the prize for the free-to-plays. It is going to be Caster Martha Santa, who is basically just a good free-to-play support unit. If you have a more stacked box, you probably won't use her all that often, unfortunately, but if you want to, you'll get some good mileage out of her. She just does a lot of good things for the party, giving you attack, HP, the Martha power mods that you'll know from the Summer Martha. She's giving everybody HP. She has a weird quick NP, which is also funny. Like, it's a quick support NP, so if you want to pair it with, say, your Van Goghs or something to really just get extra quick cards in there, especially when we get the quick chain buff and, you know, the lead buffs your crit rate and everything, that can actually be kind of good. She is really fun if you want to just mess around with her a little bit. But realistically, if you've already got, like, your double Merlins, you're going to do double Castoria, double Koyenskaya with an Oberon plug suit, stuff along those lines, you're probably not going to use Martha Santa, but she is strong. She is really good, and I do encourage you guys to kind of just take her out on a test run for a bit, because she is kind of fun. Now, before we get into the lottery nonsense, let's go ahead and talk about the summoning campaign. Now, I did already drop a video talking about Scotty 2 days ago, and that is a whole 15-minute ordeal in and of itself, so I encourage you to go check that out to see if you want to summon for Scotty. It's a little more complex than just, is quick bad? So go reference that and decide if you want to summon for Scotty. I'm going to be summoning for her, so you can catch me summoning on her in like the next day or two after I probably do the Kagetora summons. But then you also have Benny Enma, Emiya, and Martha going on right up. Now, if you're going specifically for Martha, I don't think she's worth it. She was good in like, what, the year 1 raids against Goetia. There was like a specific guy, I believe, that like debuffed your party that she was really good for because she just got her skill buff. I remember her being good for that, but really, she's kind of been aged out of the game. Benny Enma is very solid, but if you already have a decent enough arts DPS, you probably don't need to go summon for her. Like, if you have your Dioscurries, or if you have, say, your Melusines, or hey, even if you've got someone like Kagetora who's a free-to-play, you got your Chloe, something along those lines, you're probably going to be fine. Emiya is an interesting one, though, because I made a video, like, on the first year of my channel being like, yeah, everybody's got Emiya, right? He's such a common servant, and everyone's like, I don't have this dude. And honestly, he might be worth going for because he's always going to be on rate up. So if you want to go for Scotty and you do want copies of Emiya, he's not bad. You know, just insane star drop, can swap between being a buster or an arts unit. He's got dodge. You can crit super hard. Realistically, the only thing he's missing is like a battery or something. And God forbid they give him a 30% battery, then he just becomes a really solid arts and buster looper that can also just swap between the two. Bro is a little bit nuts. The CEs are also something you don't want to overlook on this banner. The 5-star CE is actually pretty strong, if only it wasn't split between attack and HP, but still, you're getting a decent enough arts buff, a decent crit damage buff, but you're also getting that demonic Bodhisattva type buff where you're getting that overcharge of 2 stages. If you want to use that to kind of pretend like we already got Ruler Kagetora, because that's kind of her gimmick over on JP, this can be nice if you don't have anything better. The 4-star CE is honestly not all that bad. It gives you a massive HP buff, which isn't as good as attack, but hey, maybe you want them big, thick HP numbers. You're using Ruler Artoria or something, and it gives you, a little bit of NP every single turn, decent little bit of NP damage, and a nice little arts buff. If your box isn't as strong, it's something to consider, but I do want to hone in on that 3-star CE as it gives you guaranteed sure hit. If you're an account that doesn't have these CEs that give you permanent sure hit, permanent pierce defense, pierce invul, these are very, very nice to have because there's a lot of bosses that can just be stupid, dummy, annoying that are just dodging all over the place. They got huge defense. Just keep track of whenever these CEs do come out because it's also the 3-star that even if you don't pull on this banner, you will be able to get it on the friend point gacha because I'm assuming you're going to go for that to farm a little bit easier. So don't forget about this one. Who cares about the 1-star per turn? Who cares, man? It's that sure hit. That can be very nice if you don't have these CEs. But let's talk about the money. Let's talk about the whole reason we care about this event. In fact, I'm not even talking about the extra quests or the CQs. If you want to stray away from the glory that is Lotto farming to go fight this bummy CQ over here, then be my guest. I'm not doing that, dude. I'm farming Lotto all day, every day, because this is centered around your skills. So you're going to be getting your cookies, your gems, and whatever the blue things are called. I call them orbs. Obviously, you're going to be getting your QP, you're going to be getting your EXP cards, mana prisms, which I am in dire need of, and then you're going to be getting stakes, stingers, magatamas, and the little octuplet crystal things, which are all stupid nice. And notably, you're going to get this gold item, this bottle of cider. You get 4 of those per box. And I encourage you, don't use them on that bummy quest that costs like, 5 of them, and you farm the gold currency. You're going to get enough of that by farming the free quest. You save these and you sell them. This is how you get to like 1.1 billion QP and beyond. This is how you just start getting in the billions with a B. When I was farming the Kachin Kojin Lotto like earlier on this year on JP, this is how I got up there because I got like, 700 million QP, but then I just sold all of these, sold all the gold material after I cleaned out the event shop, obviously. I'm not that much of a psychopath. And then you just start getting dummy amounts of QP rolling it. It is stupid nice. You're also going to get this little gold exchange ticket that you can exchange for either like a Claw of Chaos, the little Lost Belt 2 metal things, or the Phoenix Flowers, which, let's be honest, that's what everybody's going to be picking. You're going to be picking the feathers. Come on. Did I call them a flower? Feathers. You know what I'm talking about. I'm so excited because I'm going to be so good on feathers. I never have to go back to Okeanos ever again. And I'm super happy about that one. Although, no, I think the best node for feathers is actually in Salem, but I always go to Okeanos because I think it's cheaper on your AP, and I'm just an absolute psychopath. And sometimes I just want to relive that year 1 nostalgia. But let's actually talk about these stages themselves. Now, there are potentially 2 different options for you, although I highly recommend that you do the Assassin one, because the Assassin one is a 3-1-1 node, and it's very, very easy. Because it's a 3-1-1, you have a couple different options. You could just bring, say, like a Chen Gong even and just wipe the first node, and then bring some type of single target and then just loop them on, both of these assassins. Very easy to do if you have someone like Kentoki and you want to use someone like, say, Koyanskaya. But someone like Nidocris, as I mentioned earlier, is also really good for this because they have just a big old battery. They can wipe the first node and potentially even insta-kill some guys. Cersei's also really good because, again, instant big old 100% battery. So you can just slap, the Lotto CE on her and then you're just good to go. Although, thankfully, the Lotto CE this year does give us starting charge, so you have a little bit more leeway. If you get it maximum broken, you have that 50%. Anybody with a starting 50% battery, or technically 30% battery, should be good because, again, you could do like a 20% of pen skill, and that can make your life a little bit easier. Basically, get to prepping. Look at this node. It's not super difficult because look how tiny these guys are. You could just absolutely wash them. The only reason I say you have another option is the node before this, the Lancer one, has better actual mat drops. And what I mean is it has eggs, and for some people, they might not just have the units leveled, or maybe they're just a really new starter account and they're having a hard time, doing a good, like, consistent 3-turn clear for the last node, which, again, I would still advise you to try to do it, even if you're like 4-turning it, because getting all the Lotto material plus all 3 of the different event currencies means you can just kind of clear out the shop, and any extra gold currency you get can be just sold later on after the event ends. And so again, you're setting yourself up for more success with more QP, right? That's also just a very nice thing to have. But it drops like the Lost Belt 5 or 4, like plume feather thing, whatever that is. I don't know. I've never needed to use those like once in my life. I can't remember the last time I've had to use those. But the Lancer one, you still get all the Lotto material and you get eggs. So I can understand if you want to take a step back and go farm this one, especially if your box isn't as up to par or if you just really need eggs. And again, you can kind of go farm this one. Say you want to get up to like, I don't know, 100 eggs and you're like, all right, I'm at 60. I'm going to go farm the noodle one and just get up on my eggs and then I'll go farm the other one, right? I think that's also a pretty valid way to go about doing things. But realistically, that's about it. I should have also flashed up some different like farming setups as we were going along. I kind of went back and I was like, oh, can I use some of my old farming setups? And no, all my stuff got deleted. Twitch only keeps your VODs for like 3 months or something. So I was going to show me doing different farming setups when I was doing this, but apparently I'm not allowed to do that. Thanks, Jeffrey Bezos. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble at this point, which is probably my cue to go ahead and go, but let me know if you guys enjoyed this format a little bit better. It is easier to just like read through the wiki, but I was like, let's do a little bit more effort in the video and see if you guys like this a bit more. Or if you guys are like, no, go back, give us the slop, all right? Give us the slop, that's what we want. But let me know if you guys like this. Again, it's a little frustrating because I did this whole thing and I had to re-record the entire audio, but I guess I can just treat this as like a final draft, and that was a rough draft, so that's cool. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe, all that good stuff. We be uploading FGO videos every single day, except for yesterday because of the reasons I listed at the very beginning. But with all that being said, I will catch you guys on the flippity floppity, and I will be getting to farming every single weekday as soon as the nodes drop, so make sure you keep the Twitch for that if you just want someone to, I don't know, listen to in the background ramble about the most random things while you're farming. You know, sometimes it's just nice to have white background noise.